Good morning guys, welcome to this video and thanks for joining me this morning here. Let's talk about electric planes. I think it's fair to say that the development of electric aircraft is at least 10 years behind the development of electric cars, for example. I mean, up to today, no electric aircraft has yet made it into some sort of large scale commercial production. Well, there are obviously good reasons for that, and I'll talk about this a little later. The Slovenian manufacturer Pipistrel has managed to, let's say, take the next step towards a more sustainable electric general aviation. And I'll find out more on this today, so stay tuned for that. Now I'm here today at a small little airport in the western part of Switzerland. It's called Aviation. Based here is a company named AlpinAirplanes. They are the main distributor for Pipistrel here in Switzerland and in the region. I got in touch with their boss, a guy called Marc Corpataux, to ask him if I could test fly his new plane. And he said yes, so I'm very excited to be here today, and I'm gonna see now if I can somewhere find the aircraft. And this is it. This is the new Pipistrel Velis Electro, an all-electrically powered two-seater aircraft. Using its 57 kilowatt or about 80 horsepower engine and its 22 kilowatt hour battery, it will keep you up in the air for about 1 hour. And yes, you're right, it's based on the previous Alpha Electro, but has now a 50 kilogram max takeoff weight increase, a sturdier landing gear and an improved endurance. But the thing that sets it apart from every other electric aircraft ever built, this is now a certified plane. Obviously I wanted to know a little more about what that means from Marc Corpataux. Marc, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time today.
It's a pleasure.
I heard you have now the first certified electric aircraft, I think basically in the world. What were the difficulties and the troubles you were facing when certifying this?
Yeah, we started actually in December 2016 with a so-called white paper here in Switzerland. And the idea initially was to make it a national project proof of concept. We presented the white paper at FOCA in December 2016 as said, and they agreed to do that prototyping here in Switzerland. But only half a year later, all of us understood that this is not such an easy task because the regulatory frame was not existing at the time, and so it was just too big only for the small Switzerland.
Yeah. And why is the certification such a big thing for you, for Pipistrel? What can you do with the certified plane that you couldn't do before with a non-certified aircraft?
Typically the mission of this aircraft is training. So basic training, but also familiarization and really also being able to do the necessary flight training, saying gathering hours. The typical endurance is 50 minutes, so this leads to this typical mission, and therefore you need a certified aircraft to be able to do training on it.
Yeah. You mentioned flight schools. I heard you have a couple of flight schools here in Switzerland already that you're going to be partnering with to start this mission, this training mission here in Switzerland. Can you estimate what the approximate cost saving is going to be in basic training when you're doing your PPL or your LAPL training here?
The cost saving is not the major thing with this aircraft. I always say the big gain we have on electric aviation is the noise. So this aircraft you hardly recognize, you hardly notice. So that's the big advantage. The cost themselves is also regarding operating cost is much less. It's less than half. However, today we don't have the experience about long-lasting batteries. So what is guaranteed are 700 charging cycles. This typically leads to about 35 to 40 Swiss francs per hour if you calculate it down. Yep. And as I said, we are lacking the experience today. We will see in future. If the batteries last as we estimate for 1,400 and even plus cycles, then it will be much cheaper, the aircraft.
Yeah, I heard Pipistrel was partnering up with a company called Green Motion to try to build up charging infrastructure here in Switzerland, because you obviously don't only need the electric aircraft but also somewhere to charge it. What's the idea behind this partnership there?
That's right. So actually there are several companies interested in partnering. However, Green Motion was kind of the quick one. So there is a contract with Pipistrel exclusive over 10 years. Green Motion will provide the chargers coming directly with the aircraft, but also will provide chargers for infrastructure, so standalone chargers. The idea behind this is to create the grid, starting in Switzerland, hopefully going around Switzerland over all Europe. And the good thing with Green Motion, they already have a system for reservation of a charger, but also let's say a paying system, all already you can do with an app. And this is the big advantage. This is a lack today. Today we are starting with an aircraft and a charger. You go to a place, if you're lucky the charger is free, and you know it's all in the very beginning. But with this partnership here, this will be much more professional.
That sounds amazing. So it's all going to be not only electric but also somehow a smart system that connects everything that you need for the electric one.
Absolutely.
Sounds amazing. I'm really curious to see that plane now. I think we're going to pre-flight it really quick and then go flying with it.
Okay.
Thanks so much for the answers.
Pleasure.
Ready for taxi, run up, 27.
Du stör einfach, wo startest du? Einfach, ist okay. Ui. Ah ja, ganz viel Luft. So funny how they just falling back to idle and the engine stops.
This is also a big advantage, so you don't have any ground noise. You will see the run-up is just once full throttle.
Yep.
And apart from this, there is no noise at all on ground. If you think about, especially in cooler days, thermal powered aircraft will turn during 10 minutes on ground just to warm up the oil, to warm up the engine, and basically noise for nothing. You're not even flying.
That's true.
Okay, so we are at the run-up position, runway 27. We quickly do the engine run-up. So basically what you do, you check there is no annunciator light, there is no explanation here. Then you go minimum 50 kilowatt, what is required for takeoff. You check this.
Yep, there it is. No.
Checked, no annunciator, no explanations, and active. Propulsion system is checked. So basically then you have flaps set, takeoff, trim is set, controls free and correct. Run up completed. So departure briefing, runway 27, in case of any problems on ground, throttle off brakes, in case of problems after rotation, throttle off and land on. remaining runway.
Yep.
Problems after liftoff, straight ahead in the green, 20-30 degrees maximum.
Perfect.
And 500 feet at 2.8 we will make a 180 and land opposite.
Okay. So approach sector looks clear, runway 27 is identified. We got fuel, basically nothing, but 98% on the battery charge. Runway is now coming clear.
Hotel Yankee Echo, line right departure runway 27.
Okay.
Checked, ready?
Right.
Let's see how that works. So there is more than 50, right? Airspeed is alive, engine instruments in the green. I got 50 knots rotation speed. Oh, that climbs like nothing. 60 knots for climb out. That's crazy performance. Oh. We got the safe altitude now, time to retract flaps, right?
Yeah, flaps up.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, and you reduce to 40.
Yeah. 48, right?
Yes.
Yep.
It's end of green.
End of green, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, you have to know there is a lag because of the filter, so yeah, you have to wait.
okay. Yeah, okay. Alright.
And then it's 75, the best climb speed,
Yeah.
B-way.
And we're starting the left turn there to stay in pattern, which is 3,300 feet. The climb up performance is impressive if you imagine that it's only 80 horsepower, but it's, I think, like any car with an electric motor, that the power sets off and you have...
Yeah, it's immediate. The torque is immediately here, and it climbs very well.
That's so cool.
85 knots cruise speed.
So I'm not sure if viewers can see that we got now the minutes time ticking up there because we obviously reduced the engine power. So we got now at least about 40 minutes there remaining. Nice little cruise setup, gives us 90 knots of cruise speed, which is amazing if you think that we're only using basically 45 horsepower.
Now we are in the training area, so feel free to experience the aircraft, do whatever you want.
If I pull back to idle, will the engine actually quit or will it still windmill? I guess it's still gonna
It will windmill because, you know, the electric engine, there is no gearbox, nothing.
Yeah.
It's rotating free.
Of course, yeah.
So when you have blowing wind, it will.
Yeah.
However, it has to be said the recuperation is not active yet. So in the future there will be also a braking force from the propeller that actually generates electric power going back to the battery, so recuperation.
Yep. So first thing I'm going to do is go back to idle and discover the gliding speed. What's the best glide here?
70.
70, so let's keep the nose up a little. Because you said before the flight that the gliding angle is going to be more like a sailplane and less like
it's not a sailplane, however it's still 1:15 the glide ratio.
A lot better than, I think a Cessna 172 is 1:9 or something. So
The crucial thing for an electric flight is the lift to drag ratio. You have to keep the consumption as low as possible to be able to clean stall with idle.
Clean stall and idle configuration.
You will experience the new gadget, I call it gadget, the stick shaker.
The stick shaker there, you mentioned, it's like in a 777 actually, it's crazy. Let's find out then. What we got. There it's coming.
This is stick shake.
So shall I recover already?
No, go back. You can go all the way back.
The buffeting then. But you definitely
this is stall
feel your
clean.
This is stall clean. Wow, that's there's not much buffeting, but obviously you would recognize as soon as the stick shaker is going. So let's recover there.
And we turn here right because there is the circuit of Gruyere.
Yeah, clear to the right side. It's really uneventful, the stall there.
Absolutely.
But it's good to have a stick shaker because the buffet is not too recognizable. But
true.
Yeah.
True. So what is also special to Pipistrel aircraft? This is because of the big wings, the wingspan, and also due to the flap rents. When you're flying low, it needs quite a lot of foot. So there is some adverse yaw.
Yeah.
We will experience that when we are back at 4,000. We will go back to landing configuration 60 knots, and then we will make a a shallow turn.
Yep.
Can already go flaps 1
Yep.
and flaps 2.
Yep.
This is landing configuration.
60 knots, right?
And now you need some power to keep it at 4,000.
Yep.
Now you can make a
maintain.
360 at 65 knots.
Okay.
You see immediately where the ball is going.
Yeah, it needs definitely needs some left foot there. Now the speed is dropping and climbing. Oh, yeah.
So this is the one phase of the aircraft.
Yeah.
And the other characteristic is that at the higher speed you don't need, basically you don't need any foot.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to do a steep turn.
Yeah, let's try that. That's 45 degrees there, the little dash.
But this one here is 45.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we try 45 first then?
Okay, you will need about 30 kilowatt.
Okay, let's put that in. Say to the left there, rolling in. More left foot.
And this is also a nice gadget. Here you have the G meter.
Wow. So I need, that's now too much in descending there.
1.5, 1.4, this is typically for 45.
Yeah. I tend to look at the instrument with these funny gadgets instead of outside.
Okay.
Hotel Yankee Echo, joining the King of Down in 3757.
Civilian aerodrome, Alpha Bravo Yankee Kilo Golf, hello. Heading 4,200
the foot rate.
landing by your sector north.
Definitely high there. So let's reduce further to...
Thank you, Kilo Golf.
You see it is a good glide.
Yeah, it is a good glide. You barely get rid of the speed there once you're too high. And one touch and go should be fine with the battery,
No
with
problem.
your timing.
With this you do another 4 circuits if you want.
Oh, crazy. Okay. And final power setting is going to be below 10 kilowatt.
It's basically idle.
Idle. Yeah, you need to work with the foot. So we go flaps 1 after the touch and go, right?
Right.
Yeah. Go for the aiming point. Throttle is back to idle. Hey. You know what?
Let it
Let's
go down.
around.
Okay. Your choice. It would have been fine, but it's of course it doesn't want to go down.
Yeah. Right. So flaps 1 is set, target speed is 70 about.
It glides, huh?
It glides crazy. There was a bit of thermals there with the fields.
Yep.
And that didn't help either. But yeah, you really got to get rid of the speed a little earlier there. So the house with the red roof, the big one there. So
the red roof here in front.
Yeah. Okay, and we go around that. Okay.
Anyway, you got your.
Preflight running there, which is perfect.
What are you using, Skydemon or?
I'm using Preflight.
Preflight.
I actually used both of them. I did a video where I compared both of them side by side. Yeah. But they're both great. What are you using?
Skydemon.
Skydemon, okay.
Hotel Kilo Golf, over, will join downwind.
It's inside. Yeah.
Behind traffic contact.
Traffic inside Hotel Yankee Echo. Hotel Yankee Echo turning final 27.
You're aiming for 60, right? Not 65.
60 is final speed.
Yeah. Slightly low. idle a bit earlier this time. It wants to fly.
Let it go down. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. So let's make this full stop then.
Okay. For this ride.
Thank you, Mark. It was absolutely amazing. It was a big pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for letting me fly your brand new first certified plane here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see the progress and the news I'll be getting from Pipistrel in the future, and we'll see how it works out with the flight schools here in Switzerland.
Great. I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Success.
Happy to have you here anytime.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks. Amazing.
Pleasure.
So guys, I'm now back home here in the office. Time for a huge shout out to Marc and AlpinAirplanes for the awesome day. I really enjoyed the flight. It was an awesome experience for me. You'll of course find the links to Marc homepage down in the video description below. It's also worth mentioning that this very airplane that I flew in today will be taken onto a world record electric flight in only a couple of days, I think. The team involved will try to break 7 world records with this project. You'll also find their link down below. Now guys, I have to say I'm really curious to hear what you think about this video, about the plane, about electric flight in general. Some will of course argue that 15 minutes flying time plus a little reserves is not practical for cross-country flying. Well, to be fair, Marc said that this is not supposed to be used for private cross-country trips, and I guess it will take a couple of more years until batteries will allow for significantly more flying time in the air. Remember, unlike electric cars that I mentioned in the beginning, you can't just put in literally a ton of batteries, because unlike a car, you want a plane to actually fly. The Velis has been designed for flight training operations, for pattern flying, for practicing takeoffs and landings, and getting out to the practice area like we did today. And I think Pipistrel might actually have a commercial success with this plane, because if you think about it, the main demand in the GA market in the past years has been for trainer aircraft. Of course, COVID-19 will most likely have an impact on that demand as well. But I still think that this could be the plane many future pilots will learn to fly on. Now, as I said, I want to know your opinion. Please leave a comment down below and tell me what you think on this topic. Please also don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. It really does mean a lot to me to see this channel grow. Anyway, that's it for this video. You guys stay safe. Thanks for watching all the way to the end, and many happy landings out there.